In this video, we'll review the rules for adding and subtracting of integers. Whether you're adding signed numbers as integers, signed decimals, or signed fractions, you're going to follow these addition rules. The first rule says if we have the same sign, we're going to add the numbers and keep the sign. For example, if you have -5 plus -3, you're going to keep the sign, negative, and you're going to add the integers, -8. Same thing goes with positive. If you have a +4 plus a +6, then the result will also be positive. It'll be a +10. But if the signs are different, you can ask yourself this question: which one do I have more of? And that's the sign I'll keep for my answer, and then I will use subtraction to compare. So for example, if you have -15 plus a +9, you ask yourself, which one do I have more of? Well, I have more negatives, so my answer is going to be negative. How many more negatives do I have? To get that answer, I have to use subtraction. 15 minus 9 is 6. So I have 6 more negatives than I do positives. Let's put these rules into practice. You can pause the video and do these too. For the first one, we have -2 plus +9. So I see that the signs are different. So now I can go ahead and ask myself, which one do I have more of? I have more positives than negatives, so my answer will be positive. And how many more positives do I have? Well, I have 7 more positives, because 9 minus 2 is 7. For the next example, we have a -9 plus a -8. This time the signs are the same. So when the signs are the same, I'm going to keep the sign and I'm going to add the numbers, giving a result of -17. When you have many addends, a good way to go about it is to combine like terms and then compare. So when we combine like terms, it means we put the negatives with the negatives and the positives with the positives. So I'm going to combine these negatives with each other, -12 plus -34. That gives a -46. And then I can put together the positives, +15 plus +12 gives a +27. Now I can compare. I can ask myself, which one do I have more of, negative or positive? Well, I have more negatives than positives, so my answer will be negative. And how many more, I determine through subtraction. And sometimes the subtraction you do mentally, and sometimes you do some scratch work on the side to come to the right conclusion. So here we're going to come to a difference of 19. So our answer will be -19. We have 19 more negatives than positives. When faced with subtraction and integers, things can get a little bit tricky with subtraction and negative signs. So what we do is we eliminate subtraction altogether by taking away the subtraction and making it to addition. Because we make that change, we also need to change some numbers to their opposites. So if you have a minus sign, the first rule says you should add the opposite. Or you can follow the principle of SCO, same, change, opposite. So the first thing you're going to do in a problem is change the subtraction to addition. And then the number that comes immediately after the subtraction changes to its opposite sign. So for example, if we have -7 minus a +3, then we're going to see that the first number, the -7, is not going to change. We're going to begin the changes at the subtraction. So the subtraction will change to addition, and the +3 will change to its opposite, which is a -3. Now that we've made those two changes, we have a new problem to solve. After the subtractions are gone, Rule 2 tells us to go back to those adding rules. So now we have -7 plus -3. The signs are the same, so we keep the sign and we add 7 plus 3, giving us an answer of -10. So remember, -7 minus a +3 gives a result of -10. We change subtraction to adding. We change the +3 to its opposite, and that makes the numbers much easier for us to see. So you can pause the video and try these two questions. For number 7, we have -6 minus +8, so we need to take away that minus sign. So the -6 is not affected. That's the one that stays the same. We start at the change, changing the minus sign to a plus sign, and then we change the +8 to its opposite. It becomes a -8. Now we have a new problem, -6 plus -8. Signs are the same. We keep the sign, and we add the numbers, -14. So when we make the change and when we do the opposite, we're not changing the numbers per se, we're making things easier for us to deal with those numbers. For number 8, we have a +16 minus a -16. So we're going to take away the minus, making it into adding or plus, and the -16 becomes its opposite. It becomes a +16. So the first number before the operation stays the same. The subtraction becomes addition, and the number that follows the operation changes to its opposite. So now we have 16 plus 16. Both are positive, so our answer is also going to be positive. It's going to be a +32. Remember, to make the numbers easier to deal with, you're going to get rid of all the subtractions first. So we're going to focus on the subtractions. We have -22 minus -17. So we change the subtraction to addition, and we change the next number, the -17 to a +17. We change it to its opposite. So there is our same change opposite. The next one we have is right in the middle here. We have a -34 minus a -12. So we don't touch that -34, that's coming before the subtraction. We get rid of the subtraction first, making it adding, and then we change the -12 to a +12. So again, we do same change opposite there. Now we have new numbers, so we have -22 plus a +17 plus a -34 plus a +12 plus a -8. Let's combine our like terms. So we're going to take this -22 and add it to the -34 and add it to the -8. So when we combine all of those negatives, we're going to come out at -64. Then we can combine our positives. 17 plus 12 is a +29. So we're going to be adding a +29. Now we ask ourselves the questions based on adding rules. I have different signs. One's negative, one's positive. Which one do I have more of? Well, I have more negatives, so my answer will be negative. And then I ask myself, how many more negatives do I have? And 64 minus 29 is equal to 35. So I have 35 more negatives than positives. The result is -35. So you've got this. The best way to practice your adding and subtracting of integers is to do lots and lots of practice. Good luck.